Okay, so this one had to be done. The blue lights are casting in my direction. Look at that! Look at it! Okay, Dave, you tell us.
All right, well, this is Avenger, 10mm scale strike carrier. It's 3 meters long.
No, not that.
3 meters long. It's got about 6,000 pieces, totally custom built. Took me, I've put about 1,200 hours into it by now. I finished it at 2 minutes to 10 this morning, just before the doors opened. It's fully lit, it's got moving doors, it's 100 condors, 300 tanks, 6 albatrosses. It's a huge, crazy, mad project that I'll never do again. It's mad. Really,
it's just unreal. Let's come around to this side of the table, Dave, because get a shot of the rear end here, man. You know, it's like, oh.
Yeah, the engines still need a bit of work. Actually, that's one thing I'm gonna do a little bit more work on the Chrome before UK Games Expo. Usually that's when I get to work on this. It's like the little pre-show window where everything's gone to print, and I can go back to this for a couple of weeks because. You know, it's been maybe 16 months in the making, but I haven't been working on it solid for that. It's just been like 2 weeks of intense work and then nothing for 6 months, and then I get to do a bit more Spaceship. But I'm feeling good about seeing it finished at last, because...
Well, as beautiful as this is, come here, do you see this? You've went ahead and created this schematic that's all backlit. It's awesome.
Yeah, this is all based on photography of the model itself. And then all assembled in Photoshop with a few bits of CAD elements in there. There's a lot of background on there in terms of crew, payload, weapons, everything. It was a good several days' work into that, but I'm really happy with the way that turned out as well. And it's useful because it just tells people what all the bits are, because there's a lot of features and moving parts on this model, and it's nice people can look at it and see what it all is.
Okay, Dave. There's only one topic on my mind, Spaceship Game.
Spaceship Game.
What can you tell me about it today?
Okay, I can tell you a lot about it today. We are spilling the beans on the Spaceship Game today.
Spill.
Yeah, well, first off, it's an orbital combat game, not a deep space combat game. So your battlefield is not a black square with white dots all over it. It's a piece of planet. So your tabletop is I guess maybe about the size of France, Spain. Kind of, that's how big an area you're playing over. So you've got to drop troops into cities.
Oh, so you interact with the...
Yeah, you interact with the ground. So you'll have ground defenses, you'll have space stations, and space stations will be playable things that you pay points for because it's always in orbit. So there's always a reason to have space stations amongst other things. So this is a atmospheric craft, this thing, the strike carrier. This is actually quite a small ship in the game. This is frigate level in terms of how big it is. One of the biggest things that can go atmospheric, bigger ships like cruisers and battleships die if they decay into atmosphere, they just die.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of gameplay. There's a few layers. So you've got high orbit, low orbit, atmosphere. So there's few. That's part of the gameplay. Things move very slowly in atmosphere. It's like moving through soup compared to moving through deep space. The shooting mechanics are very interesting. Because in space everything's got an infinite range, really.
Correct. Yeah.
So all the weapons don't have a range, but all your ships have a scan value. So say 9 inches. And enemy ships have a signature. The bigger the ship, the bigger the signature.
Yeah.
But also you add to your signature by doing stuff. So if you fire all your weapons, you gain energy spikes, and that means your signature, you just light up like a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
So you know where the enemy ships are. You can see them, but you can't accurately target them. So you can ping them with your sensors to try and get them to try and add spikes to them to get them at range. You can silent running. So you can only be shot when you're right up close in scan range. Yeah. Things like missiles that get taken out by countermeasures only work up close. Got to be within your own scan range, nothing more. So the shooting mechanics are quite different.
Yeah.
Damage point wise, kind of similar to BFG, I suppose, but the smaller ships have got a lot more damage points.
When's it coming out, Dave?
It's going to be end of this year / early next year. Really, it's important. We don't want to rush it because the rule set is maybe 85% of the way there. Because there's a lot of new mechanics and the way it's been designed as an orbital combat game from the ground up. So that means there's a lot of things that are different from pretty much every other spaceship game.
Okay, we've seen the big one. Have you any models?
Oh yes, we do. We have some models. I'll show you those. Can I just squeeze past you here?
Sorry guys, we just squeezed through.
Sorry guys.
Oh my god, they're beautiful! Ah!
So we've got a small UCM fleet here. These are actually turned up, painted in our office yesterday. So I haven't even had a chance to have a good look at them painted myself. These, so you can see here, there's New Orleans class, the Avenger, the strike carriers. So that's the big beastie, yeah. So
and that's the size of that in this
game.
These things must be enormous.
Yeah, they are pretty huge.
And the ship's going to get much bigger than this?
No. This the battleship at the back there, that's about as long as they'll get. Yeah. The Dreadnought will be a bit chunkier than that, but not much bigger, because all spaceship games, ours is the same. Your ship is a point source, you know, it's a little tiny dot on the top of the flight stand. So you've got a massive miniature, it just gets in the way. Yeah. They're still big, you know, it's a big model, that battleship. They're not small spaceships, but at the same time, I don't really want to go any bigger than that. I don't want to creep into silly territory, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, here you've got different cruiser variants. You've got the heavy cruiser, all the movable turrets on the UCM. The detail level...
The detail is unbelievable.
If anything, I've gone further than I went with drop zones. So with the strike carriers, you can see the orbital defense lasers on the back, and you can actually see detail on them. And these are all... this is actually a 50th of drop zone.
Yeah.
So I think it works out as 0.02 mil scale or something like that. But but it's so I can relate the two together really accurately. So I can scale one down or up. So... you know, there are certain elements like those ODLs, you can get that in drop zone as a big scenery destroying monster, but it's just one little point defense turret on these things. But you can still get that link, a real tangible link between the two things. You know, we want to tie the two together narratively with campaign links, you know, that one game affects the other, that kind of thing. Hence the orbital combat, because that's obviously a big part of drop zone. Yeah. The rule set is completely new. It's got very little in common with drop zone in terms of the way the game. It feels like one of our games, and it has many familiar drop zone-ish elements to it. Yeah. But it's not a reskinned rule set. It's a whole new rule set designed for.
I cannot wait. Okay, we've got a competition.
We've also got Andy, obviously, who's writing the rules, and he's just there, so he's worth grabbing as well.
Yeah, hang on before that, Mr. Chambers. Can we borrow you for one moment?
Yes.
Andy.
Hello.
We're just admiring your spaceship game here.
Spaceship's always a soft spot of mine.
So, it looks fabulous. It looks fabulous. We can't wait to play it. Have you got any kind of standout mechanics or anything in the game that you think is, well, wait for this?
That I should tell you about now?
Yes.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah?
I've done the shooting.
Oh, you've done the range thing, the sensors and the scanners. That's one of the primary things. For a long time, I've wanted to play around with a game where ranges weren't set.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like, oh, this has a 30 centimeter range, that has a 45 centimeter range, and that's that. I wanted something that was a lot more flexible. And we're doing a new spaceship game. I did Battlefleet Gothic before, and that was very space battle of Jutland. You know, we steam around, we fire shells at each other. For this one, I wanted something that was a bit more modern feeling. So it revolved around that sort of like ECM, ECCM battle, without it getting completely in the way of you actually having a game.
Yeah.
So that's why we've got that range mechanic in there, so that there is a way of dancing around, playing it cool sort of thing, and keeping your ships hidden until you jump on people, or just burning straight towards them and going, hell, I don't care if you can see me, just fire away, I don't care. So there was actually some tactical choices in there that were a bit different than like, I line up, you line up, we've both got guns, we blaze away at each other and see who wins. So it's, I'd like to think, a more tactical game than a lot of spaceship games you'll see out there. The other thing I think it's got going on for it is it's got such a close relationship with Drop Zone Commander.
Yeah.
In that it is about orbital combat. It is about fighting above the surface of a planet, dropping your guys down there to win the game. So to a certain extent, it does matter what happens in orbit, but where the game will be decided in a lot of the scenarios you play will be what happens on the ground and whether you can get your strike carriers in there, drop your dropships down, drop off troops, and actually defeat whoever's there on the ground. And the rest of it's them fighting against your ships, trying to stop them getting into a position to do that in the first place. and ground defenses, orbital defenses. There's a lot of meat to be playing around with there in general.
As well.
Bombardment. Which
I want it now. I want it now. Why are we waiting for this? Get this, man. Get out of here and go and get it finished. Right, we have a competition. There was 50 little pewter models of the big ship, and you have a chance to win one of them. See how cool this is? Make sure you comment on this entry in the live blog, and in the Weekender we'll be announcing the winner. Gentlemen, thank you so much, and I want it now.